When did you attend the YMCA?
Between 1949 and 1953.
How old were you when you went there?
Well, I was about 14 when I first started going to the YMCA.
What were your memories of the YMCA?
Well, there were good memories. We used to do PE, sports, dancing, table tennis, billiards, and it was a good social atmosphere. That's where I first started, learned a few steps dancing with a lady who seemed very old at the time. She would probably be 19.
So what sort of dancing did you do?
Ballroom dancing.
Oh, how lovely.
So we just had a couple of sessions at that, and very embarrassing for me, being a young boy, and I got over it. The most memorable, well, the thing was meeting people, your friends, and the social atmosphere. It was always warm and cosy and quite a happy place to be. You met people that you already knew, and you made new friends, and of course you met people who were a few years older than yourself. At this time, 49, 50. I mean, the Korean War was on. I think it was 1950, and one or two chaps who were older than me had already been and done the national service, and
Wow.
one or two had been to Korea and places like that. So
Oh,
we used to
gosh.
get talking with them, and very interesting. I went in the forces in 1953. Well, we did all sorts of things like PE and sports, as I said before, dancing, table tennis, billiards upstairs, and just sitting around talking and laughing, and for the pleasure to be with friends and the social atmosphere.
What would have happened if you hadn't gone to the YMCA?
Well, I suppose we would have just wandered around the streets.
Who did you go with?
School friends and other people that weren't at school that you met when you got there.
What did you wear when you went there?
Well, they were just, in the early stages, probably short pants, but then later on, you know, when you 1950 and so on, when you were ready for leaving school, you went into long pants. But quite a lot of us wore short pants up until 1949.
What did you eat and drink there?
Well, you could buy soft drinks and crisps and Kit Kats, and there was tea and coffee. But personally, we didn't eat or drink a lot there because we had no money. So
Yeah.
What did the building look like and the space inside?
Well, it looked like it did before they started the renovations, but not as dilapidated. In fact, it looked quite smart. I think there was the there was the wall in front, but the railings had been cut down during the war.
Was that for the metal? Because
Yes.
they needed the metal.
There were big railings and gates there, but they had been cut down. But the coping wall was still there. There was no cars parked inside. That came later on, much later. Yes, it was quite good inside. There was a big staircase going up to the billiard room, a big wide staircase, and the billiard room, I can't remember whether it was lined wood panels, but the whole building, we were quite happy with it.
Yeah.
It was well maintained.
Do you remember any of the staff?
Well, I remember Mr. Hetherington. He lived in the house. Mr. and Mrs. Hetherington lived in the house adjoining the YMCA, and the chap who did all the work as regards in the gymnasium, and that was a Mr. King. He was he seemed quite elderly to me, being a boy of 14, 15, but he probably wasn't that old, but he was very athletic. He always wore plimsolls, and and he always had things going right. There was no messing about. He knew exactly what had to be done, and he had groups doing something there and another group doing something there. And I remember on one occasion you go through the gymnasium to the back, and there was two smaller rooms, And in one of those rooms, there was a chap there was teaching karate, and
Wow.
he lent me this very stiff white, I don't know if it was a linen or a calico outfit, and he would show me how to throw him down and vice versa. And so we liked a bit of rough and tumble.
As lads do.
Under these coconut mats.
Did the YMCA influence any choices you made?
Well, I suppose it did. I got interested in table tennis and dancing and all the other things that young people are interested in. And I suppose it did influence me. If we hadn't have gone there, well, there was, in earlier years, we used to go to the Murray Boys Club in Michael Street. I don't know whether it closed, what happened, but then we went to the YMCA after that.
If you could give one piece of advice to the young people of today, what would it be?
Well, I would advise them to join in everything and get going in whatever's there and be involved.